The man's name was Aaron Blake. He worked nights and early mornings as a janitor in one of the tallest office towers in the city. His job was simple: clean floors, empty trash cans, wipe fingerprints from glass doors. But Aaron had a way of seeing what others missed. He noticed tired eyes behind expensive suits, rushed footsteps hiding stress, and the deep loneliness that success sometimes brings. His uniform was old, patched in places, and his hands were rough from years of hard work. But his eyes were calm. Strong. Kind. What no one in that building knew, not even the payroll department, was that every single month, half of Aaron's paycheck disappeared before he ever touched it. Not on bills. Not on himself. It went straight into envelopes marked for a small orphanage across town. It wasn't for praise. It wasn't for attention. It was a promise. Aaron had once lived in that same orphanage. As a child with nowhere else to go, those walls had fed him, protected him, and given him hope when the world gave him nothing. And he had promised himself that if he ever stood on his own feet, he would never forget the children still waiting for help. At home, Aaron was not just a janitor. He was a father. His entire world was his 7-year-old daughter, Maya. She had curly hair, bright eyes, and a laugh that could lift even the heaviest day. Every morning before the sun came up, Aaron packed her lunch, tied her shoes, and walked her to school before catching the bus to work. They didn't have much. Their apartment was small. Their furniture was old. But their home was full of love. One evening, as Aaron counted coins at the kitchen table, Maya looked at him and asked, "Daddy, why do you send money to those children when we don't have much?" Aaron smiled, brushed her hair back, and said gently, "Because once, someone did that for me." That answer was enough for her. At the very top of that same building worked Evelyn Carter, the CEO. Her name carried power. She was respected, feared, and admired all at once. She had built her company with sharp thinking and endless discipline. To her employees, she seemed untouchable, always composed, always in control. But behind closed doors, Evelyn lived with a quiet emptiness. Her success had cost her something she couldn't name. Somewhere between profits and meetings, she had lost her sense of belonging. Money filled her accounts, but not her heart. One gray morning, Evelyn arrived at the office earlier than usual. The building was silent except for the soft sound of cleaning. As she turned a corner, she saw Aaron kneeling near the reception desk, carefully scrubbing a dried coffee stain someone had left behind. She stopped without realizing why. There was something about the way he worked, slow, focused, respectful. She noticed the limp in his step, the tired look in his eyes, and a small photo taped inside his cart. A little girl smiling brightly. Over the next few weeks, Evelyn began seeing him more often. Or maybe she was just noticing him for the first time. One evening, as she was leaving the building, she saw Aaron standing near the security office. He was handing an envelope to a nun. He looked almost embarrassed as she thanked him quietly. Evelyn frowned. It wasn't payday. Why was a janitor giving money away? Curiosity stayed with her. And for the first time in her career, she did something unexpected. She asked her assistant to check the janitorial payroll records. When the file arrived, Evelyn stared at the screen in disbelief. Aaron's salary was low. Very low. Yet every month, a large part of it was sent to the same orphanage. Automatically. For years. He never told anyone, her assistant said. He set it up himself. Evelyn felt a weight settle in her chest. That night, sitting in her penthouse with a city view and a cup of expensive coffee, she couldn't stop thinking about Aaron's hands, scrubbing floors so children he didn't even know could eat. She had everything. He had almost nothing. Yet he was the one giving. The next morning, Evelyn drove across town to the orphanage. It was small, old, and worn. Paint peeled from the walls, but laughter filled the air. The same nun greeted her warmly. "Oh, Mr. Blake," the sister said when Evelyn mentioned his name. "He's been helping us for years. Never wants attention. Says it's his way of saying thank you for a second chance." Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. She had signed million-dollar contracts without blinking, but this broke her. Back at the office, she asked Aaron to come to her office. He walked in nervous, holding his cap tightly, certain he had done something wrong. She looked at him for a long moment and then asked softly, "Why do you do it?" Aaron hesitated. Then he spoke quietly. "Because I know what hunger feels like. Because I remember the kids still waiting. And because my daughter deserves to grow up knowing kindness matters more than comfort." Something changed inside Evelyn that day. The following week, Evelyn made an announcement that shocked the entire company. She launched a new foundation to support underprivileged children and struggling single parents. She named it the Blake Promise Fund. When Aaron heard, he could barely speak. At a company meeting, Evelyn publicly thanked him, not as a janitor, but as a teacher. Someone who reminded everyone what true wealth looked like. She didn't stop there. She personally helped renovate the orphanage, provided food, clothing, and long-term support for the children. One afternoon, she walked into the orphanage and saw Aaron there, sweeping the floor like always. "You've done more than you know," she said. Aaron smiled shyly. "We just do what we can." From that day on, Evelyn didn't just lead as a CEO. She led as a human being. She listened more. She cared more. And every time she saw Aaron in the hallway, she didn't see a janitor. She saw a reminder that compassion is the greatest form of leadership.